going to check the throttle position sensor, the TPS, on this 92 Nissan 240SX. I have the intake air tube removed so it'll be easier for you to see it, and also so it'll be easier to do all this stuff. This connector here is the connector that goes to the throttle position sensor, and this connector here is the one that goes to the harness that connects to this connector. First thing we're going to check is the power supply, which is going to be on this connector here. We have the locking clip on top, so you will have A, B, and C terminals. First thing we're going to check is the C terminal, which is supposed to be approximately 5 volts. So we're going to turn our multimeter on. We're going to take our red test lead, connect it to C. We're going to take our black test lead and connect it to the negative terminal on the battery. And we have approximately 5 volts. So we're good there. And also to add, the ignition switch is on for this test. Okay, the next test we're going to do is check the ground circuit. We're going to be checking continuity. So on your multimeter it'll have the audible signal. We're going to be checking the terminal A on this connector, which is the first one. And then we're going to take our black test lead and connect to the negative terminal on the battery. The ignition switch is off. If we have continuity, it'll make a beeping sound. As you hear the beeping sound, so we have continuity. So we're good on this test. Next thing you could do is check the input signal circuit, which basically to do that you would disconnect the negative terminal on the battery. You would disconnect the ECU harness from the ECU. You'd run a wire from pin 20 on the ECU and run it all the way to the engine bay into terminal B here. And if you have continuity, then you're good. Because basically all it's doing is checking this wire from the B terminal here all the way through the harness, all the way to the ECU harness, to the ECU plug, and making sure that wire is still good. Okay, for the next test we're going to be checking the actual TPS, so we'll be using the connector that's coming off of it. With the locking clip on top, you'll have terminal 1, 2, and 3 from left to right. I'm going to use these small alligator clips. Basically what I'm going to do is take my test lead, put it in the alligator clip, and use the other alligator clip to lock it on. And that's what you end up with. We'll go ahead and connect this to terminal 1 on the connector. Because we're going to be checking terminal 1 and terminal 2 on this. This is measured in ohms. Looks like a small horseshoe. And as far as the factory service manual states, the resistance between terminal 1 and terminal 2 with the throttle being closed should be 2 ohms approximately. As you see, we're getting 10.59 ohms, which that is actually what it's supposed to be checking out with the throttle wide open. So we'll check it with the throttle wide open now. And as you see, we're getting 2 ohms with the throttle wide open. And partial throttle should be in between 2 and 10. So right around 5, so we're good on that. I'm assuming that the factory service manual has it backwards. So I'm going to say that completely closed it should be around 10 ohms, and completely wide open throttle should be around 2 ohms. I'm just assuming that the factory service manual has it backwards, because that is the way mine is checking out. And also the ignition switch is off on this test. Since my test was backwards on this one, I'm going to connect my red tester to terminal 3, and then my black probe to terminal 2. See what I come up with? 1.209 ohms. Now wide open throttle. 9.51. So possibly factory service manual's wrong again, and you should check terminals 2 and 3 rather than 1 and 2. But again, the ignition switch is off on this test. Okay, for the next test, we're going to adjust the throttle position sensor. I'm using a small paper clip with the end bent like this. You have your TPS connector here, it's connected together, and the locking pin is on top. Look at the back side of the connector here, the harness side of the connector. From left to right, you have terminals 1, 2, and 3. We're going to be checking terminals 2 and 3